And welcome to Capital Talk, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of Kenya. Now more than ever, I'm Geoff Koinange. Now, if you've been watching The Bench all this week, you know we're talking about success stories. Kenyans who have gone out of their way to do amazing things with Kenya in mind. Like my guest today, folks, if you hear this man's story, it's an ongoing movie, no doubt. He was born, check this out, 1942. That makes him 70 years old this year. By the way, he grew up in a place back in the day that was called Thompson's Falls, now Nyahururu. Went to Nyahururu School and then Kenton College and then a school called Duke of York. We're talking the 40s and 50s, folks, remember? Soon later became Lenana. He was expelled, didn't give up, got on a bike, rode to Cape Town. Folks, that's not even the story. He's 70 years old and he says, each day is like a new day to him. Never gets exhausted, leads by example. And he formed a company back in '62. You know the name as soon as I tell you. A&K, Abercrombie Kent, #1 travel and tour company in the world. Sales last year, $500 million US. Wow. Sit back. This is success with a capital S. Geoffrey Kent.
Hi,
good to see you, man.
And you too. Very good to see you too.
Goodness. I mean, I don't even know where to begin, but let's go back. Nyahururu.
Yes.
So it was called Thompson's Falls then?
Thompson's Falls School. Well, we had the farm in South Kinnicop, and I went to Thompson's Falls School when I was like 5 and a half, 6. And I remember getting there, and my mother drove away, and I remember I couldn't tie up my shoelaces. It's a lasting memory of my first day at school.
You must have cried.
Oh, all the time. All the time. From then I went to Kenton College.
Yep. It still exists?
Still exists.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And,
I want to take my son there one day.
Good. Yeah, it's a very good school.
Good school.
Certainly was then.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, still to this day. And then Duke of York.
And then Duke of York, which is today Lenana School, you know. I was in Delamere House, and it was we had red.
You had
red shirts, Delamere.
Were there any black people then?
None then, no.
None?
None.
Zero?
Zero, no.
Was it a big school? Was it a...
Yes, it was a big, very big school.
For the settler families, for the farm kids?
Yes.
And, wow.
Yeah.
How was it disciplined then?
Very, very awesome. Very, very tough.
Really?
Everyone, you were caned by the head boy of your house. Yeah. Could cane you and did cane you, like every 4th day. The housemaster could cane you, and finally the headmaster could cane you. So you could go like through 3 corporal punishments, in the space of a month, depending on how bad you did.
And how was it tradition for rugby and football and all the other sports?
We always beat Prince of Wales.
Always?
Always. They'll say the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what the Prince of Wales. Yeah. We were very sporting, and I loved him. And Duke of York was great because we had the whole Bundu area where we used to hide. And I grew up with people like, Alan Root was Prince of Wales, but Richard Leakey, he was the Duke of York with me.
With you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Give us a couple of other names.
Richard Leakey, Alan. I'm trying to think of some others who are famous. I can't bring them straight to mind. I think.
Was Richard ahead of you or behind you? Richard, was he ahead of you?
He's just behind me.
Just behind you?
Yes, yes.
Was he a good kid?
Richard, yeah, very smart. Really? Talks a lot, more than me. I'm having lunch with him tomorrow, so I hope he's going to watch this.
Excellent. And then you were expelled?
Yes. That was the first low point of my life.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But it didn't deter you, right? Because, a lot of people would have been discouraged. And
I think in life the key thing is rather like in rugby. When you pull down, you've just got to get out fast and fight back. So
dust yourself off and
get going again. Yeah. So that was a story.
Wow. We're going to fast forward to when you decided to start this travel company. I mean, this is '62, even before independence.
That's correct.
Before independence.
Before independence.
What made you want to do this?
Well, I suppose it was when Kenya got self-government that we lost all of our farms in '62. So again, it was a low moment. But again, we dusted ourselves off, and we had lost everything we grew up with. Everything had gone. Yeah. And we came to Nairobi, and we had to think, we'd all grown up with Koinange, famous company. Yes. So I had to have a name that sounded like that. So first of all, I came up with Aardvark, AA, because I want to be top of the yellow pages. Right. But I couldn't get a logo out of an anteater. So we switched it to Abercrombie and Kent. But there's no Abercrombie.
No, it's
never
just
was.
Kent.
Yes, never was, never has been, nothing. Abercrombie Kent, we paid £100, took the farm Land Rover KBH 482, I remember the plates today, and we're in business. Had a little office in Vedic House, like me. Yeah. That's it, my mother and father, and that was it.
My Was it difficult, or when was your first big break?
We had, I think the big break was when I invented the luxury tent safari with ice machines. And I told you I went to the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst after Duke of York. And there I took all my military background and created to launch these mobile tent safaris. And I had this slogan, which, hunt with a camera, not with a gun. And that was, so we were the first to move big time into photography and not hunting. And I had these beautiful camps with ice machines, and we do 30-day safaris, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. And then I suppose my first big break was trying to look for customers. Very hard to find a client. I used to sit outside the New Stanley Hotel, the Thorn Tree.
The old Thorn Tree.
Yeah, have a milkshake or whatever I had, and sit. And I told them, I hadn't travelled at all, but I told the very rich people were Texans in those days. They'd discovered oil. And they had big hats and big boots, and I'd recognize them. So I waited. One day, I saw somebody who had to be a Texan, so I went up to him and said, "Are you from Texas?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Great. Would you like a safari?" And he said, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind." So I go off and I planned this 30-day trip, work out all the money, and it came to like $3,200, which was so much money. So how can I say that? So I give him the whole pitch, and he said, "Well, how much is it?" So I can't get 3,200, so I say 2,950. And he looked at me and said, "Is that all?" And I looked at him and said, "Each." So then I realized that actually making money can be easier than you think sometimes.
And he paid that?
Yes, and we did a great trip, and I told him later, but he said, "No, keep it. You're a young guy, starting." I think he said, "That's very funny." I told him, that's very funny.
Yeah.
And then I worked out I got to get to America. I have to get to this.
Why? Because that's the...
Yes, because after this trip, I realized this is it. I can't fool around here.
Yeah.
I got to get to Texas. I got to get to America. Yes. But I had no money.
Right.
And there's exchange control in those days. So how'd you get there? So I went to Sabina, and I said, "I'll help load all your flowers onto the Sabina planes, because half freight, half if you give me a free seat." And that's what I did. And there's a guy called Colonel Danvers, who gave me a free seat on the plane. I got to Brussels, and they gave me another free seat to America. I get to America, and then I start to move and see friends and build up my clients.
Yeah. And then down the line, you managed to convince a Rockefeller to come here.
Well, I'm sure in those days you had to, living in Kenya then, I had to read everything, right? So I used to read, I read Time and Newsweek. And then I'd see on the cover of Time, I think it was, the richest man in the world is David Rockefeller. I said, "Well, he should be my client. That's who I need. I need the richest guy in the world." So I literally got on a plane, like I just told you, got to New York, went to the Rockefeller Center, right? Yes. And he had the big Chase Manhattan. I said, "See, I see you're building a Chase Bank in Nairobi, right?" And he said, "Yes." Well, he wouldn't see me. He's one of his aides.
Yeah.
Joseph Reed, actually, was the guy's name. And I said, "I'd love to meet David Rockefeller," and try to meet him. And eventually I met David Rockefeller. Long story. David Rockefeller came. I was his guide. Actually, we took him to Lake Turkana. And actually, Richard Leakey was with me on that trip. Richard came with me on that
Is that right?
Yeah, he did. And we took him swimming with the crocodiles.
Whoa.
And I had lunch with David like 2 months ago. He's like 95 now. Mm-hmm. He remembered every single part, and he just loved Africa. We introduced Africa, and he talked and talked and talked about it.
And at the end of the day, it's all about word of mouth, isn't it? Because if they have a good time here, they'll tell their friends.
And then he brought 105 of his best friends, all leading bankers of the world, to the 1972 IMF conference here in Nairobi. And I handled the whole thing as a young Kenyan.
Yeah.
And that was my big break. Wow. So that was fun. But it was all because I went out because I read in Time and followed him.
Yes.
I just wasn't handed one day the IMF conference.
Yeah.
You've got to pursue your dream.
Exactly.
And work.
And you have to lead from the front, Jeff. That's the bottom line. You have to lead from the front, because even after the 100 bankers, you still bring people to this day.
Absolutely. We brought Bill Gates to this country. I did the first Bill Gates safari. We brought the Prince of Wales to this country, and the children. So, we are always building, bringing, a lot of the movie stars come with us.
Denzel
Washington come with us. Jimmy Carter came.
Cameron Diaz.
Hillary Clinton, And so we keep on pushing and getting important people to come, because they tell everybody.
Correct.
And that's what gives Kenya its great name.
Yes.
Everybody always, when you bring it up, they say knowingly, "Oh, what a great country. Oh, that changed our life."
Is that right?
That changed our life. Just about everyone I bring say, "That trip changed our life." And us Kenyans, we didn't know that.
That's really good to hear, Jeff, because a lot of the stories that come out of this place, I mean, everyone loves the 4 Ds, as I call them, or a friend of mine used to call them: death, disease, despair, and destruction. That's all they like to hear about Kenya. But it's good to know that there are some great people out there who tell some great stories.
But you got to keep on doing it. I give interviews all day long. I did the Wall Street Journal last week. 5.4 million people saw a brief story about me. Always raised in Kenya, started Abercrombie Kent in Kenya, come to Kenya. An implicit underlying thing. And I go there all the time. So if he's going, it must be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to places, of course. And so, even today in Kenya, we have a very big office here. We're probably the largest safari operator in Kenya today. And we do big conferences here. We actually put up, we've got enough tents for 100 people, for local companies to bring all their directors in. Conferences we do here. We have Olanana, the camp in the Masai Mara. So we're very much about corporations in Kenya should try and hold their annual meetings in Kenya and bring them here. Then we have all these people going back saying, "What a great, you changed our life. This is a great country." And that's what we should be doing.
Has it changed over the years, Jeff? I'm sure you look around this place and you say, "My goodness."
Of course, it took me 2 hours in traffic to come and see you today.
There you go.
It used to take me 20 minutes. Now, that's the biggest change in the traffic. That's the biggest thing I find.
They keep saying it's getting better.
I haven't seen any. No, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, the wonderful thing about Kenya is, you were looking at this hotel. I grew up in this hotel.
Yes, you did.
Jack and Tubby block were here, built in 1937. So
you remember
I grew up here.
You remember the blocks?
Everything. Both of them. Very well, of course. Of course, my mother used to dress me up. Oh, these are the blocks. They own you, Stanley. There's a big deal.
Really?
Yeah. So I grew up in the Thega Club and all that.
Yeah.
And I learned how to ride as a very young guy.
That's right, because you were a +5 polo player, superstar.
Yeah. I started as captain Nairobi Polo Club, and learned there. Well, I learning the British art. I'd been playing since I rode horses on the South Koinange to just see our friends. So I was always interested. And so I started really at 16. I was captain of the Sandhurst team. I went on from there, and when I came back to Kenya full-time, captain of Nairobi Polo Club, I took the first teams from Kenya to the US. I brought US teams to Kenya. And then I said one day, I want to go and win the US Open. Sitting in Nairobi Polo Club. Everyone's saying, "What are you talking about?" I had 4 horses in Nairobi Polo Club. But I was saying, "No, I want to win the US Open." So I said that was my target. And I entered in 1976, came last out of 12. Bottom, by a mile.
Yeah.
I entered 77, came last again. In fact, it was so bad that no one would come and watch the TV. It was like, you remember like that crazy skier, he used to ski off and fall on his head. Everyone came and laughed, right? And then in 1978, it was a field of dreams. I put together a team, and I won the US Open.
With your team from?
No, not from, I took it from all over the world.
Right.
But I played, of course, I was captain of the team.
Yes.
But I won the US Open in 78, and I won the US Gold Cup. First time ever, the 2 top tournaments in America being won by a single team. Whoa. I did it in 78. Then went on to win it again in 82. I then captained Prince Charles's polo team, the Windsor Park team. I played all over the world with him, and then finally I won the World Cup, the Open Championships in 91. And then I had a huge accident in 93 where I was nearly killed. Didn't, as you can see, not quite. Takes a lot to ride off a Kenyan. Survive traffic and polo.
Yeah, exactly.
Sit here with you.
You're good to go.
But so polo was a huge part of my life.
Is that right?
Yeah, I just loved it. And I traveled the whole world. I won the Indian Open, and I traveled everywhere playing polo. And where I built the brand name, and where I met really wealthy people who came to Kenya. So in the early days, they played polo with me, and then went on safari.
There you go.
That's how I did it. Yeah.
Jeff, I want to talk more about that after the break. And you mentioned the name Windsor a moment ago.
Yes.
Does it have anything to do with Windsor here, Windsor Golf and Country Club?
Totally and completely.
I want to hear with that story. You and John Mishuki were friends. Yes. Exactly. And also, the Kenya of tomorrow, do you have hope? Because a lot of people lose a lot of hope in this country. They keep saying, well, we're going 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards. Is there a lot of hope for this place? You're 70 and still full of energy. Tell me that after the break.
Fine.
Geoff Kent, folks, my goodness. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He's 70 years old, still has the energy, and at the end of the day, still loves this country more than anything. Gets up in the morning, goes to work, brings tours here. Despite all the doom and gloom, Geoff Kent is bringing all the good folks to tell the good stories about this great place. Do not even think of going away, folks. The bench is just warming up. Back in a moment. And welcome back to Capital Talk. What a week it's turning out to be. We're talking about success stories and, yes, Kenyans who love Kenya first and think of Kenya first and everything else second. Like my guest today, grew up in Nyahururu. Those days was called Thompson's Falls. Built a company called Abercrombie Kent. Today is the largest travel and tour company on the planet. There's something else that has to do with A&K, folks. Sit back and listen to Geoff Kent. Before we go to the latest venture.
Okay.
Windsor.
Yes.
Windsor Golf and Country Club.
Well, yes, we set up a hotel business, and I called it Windsor in, I can't remember, 1980s, but it was called Windsor Hotels. And this gentleman, a family I've known sometime, John Machuki, came to see me and says, I have these, these coffee farms, and I think it'd be a great place to build a golf course and a hotel. And so together we sat down, we mapped out how to do the Windsor, and we called it Windsor.
Yes.
Called Windsor today.
Yeah.
Windsor Golf and Country Club. And John and myself, we did it together, and we built I remember arguing about the cupola at the top, whether it should be real bronze instead of imitation bronze. I said, no, we are the real thing. You and I are the real thing. Real bronze.
Was he a good guy?
Fantastic. John Machuki?
Yes.
Yeah, I tell you what, I really like John, because first of all, he's a real man. He would say things on his mind, straight and to the point, all right? Boom.
Straight shooter.
Straight shooter. He was always completely honest. All of our business relationships were fantastically honest, straightforward, to the point. He has a great vision. I love visionaries, as you can tell.
Yeah,
and when he showed me this farm, we're going to have a golf course. We walked through the trees, and we'll have this here and this here and this here. And then I said, no, we got to do this. We got to do this. And so we built it along the lines of like a Mathega with golf. You'll see the lines. Yeah. And we opened it. And I was very close to John, of course, his son Francis.
Yes.
And I'm so sad about John.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful,
Good
but what he was a leader.
Yes.
Leaders are leaders. You can't make them, by the way. No. They fall off the tree or not. You can't send them. And he was a leader.
Good man.
Fantastic leader. Great man.
Yeah.
Great man. Great, and great for Kenya.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well done. A&K Global Health. This is the latest venture. This is, and you're launching it in Kenya.
Yeah. So I had this idea with my partner Wes Edens from Fortress, my partners. We had this idea that health is the biggest challenge for anybody today, for people, for governments, and everything else. And actually, there was no way of actually handing the choice to the people. Everything is, you get sick, the doctor says, you're sick, and this is what's wrong with you. You say, okay, fine, that's it. But it's not it. So actually, we wanted to become like a facilitator in the middle, so that you can have your diagnosis done. We called it Abercrombie Kent Global Health. Yeah. And I decided to set it up here in Nairobi, to answer your question. I was going to set it up overseas, but I thought, this is ridiculous. Kenya's my home. This is where I've started every new idea, right here. And maybe it's good luck, maybe we're getting superstitious. But yeah, I came back here and said, I'm going to set it up here. Nobody could understand what I was trying to do. What we're really doing, you're taking a patient, you're then offering him opportunities to have his medicine, have his whatever it is, cardio, orthopedic, overseas. And we're also going around Africa to Juba, we've just been there, Tanzania, and bringing those people into Kenya. So it's a two-way model. You're going to bring people outside Kenya into Kenya for medical treatment, and Kenyans, if they can't get the treatment correctly done here, or there's a time waiting list, they can come to us and we'll connect them with our operation in India and Thailand and other places with the exact doctors and the exact surgery that they want. You can do it by telemedicine, have a second choice, and in effect you're empowering the patient. They have now choice.
Correct.
Choice of hospital, choice of price. Indian prices are 50% less, at least, than the UK.
Absolutely. Or US.
Or US.
Yeah.
75% less than US. So, I mean, you can have we do liver transplants, kidney, orthopedics, cancer, cosmetic surgery. Yeah. But what we really do is we give the patient peace of mind. So you're saying to him, don't worry, we'll do everything, because you're sick. So we take care of them, we fly them there, they're met the other end in India, taken to the doctor, we're there during the surgery, we take their family with them, give them a hotel, or if the family can't come, we brief them here day by day. When we're all finished, we bring them back to Kenya and introduce them back to the doctors for aftercare. So it's a complete, a one-stop shop for everything, visas, etiquettes, and it's easy. It's easy.
It's sort of like A&K travel, right? Nice health.
Exactly that. Instead of wealthy people,
Yeah.
we're taking patients, and instead of a hotel, you're going to hospital. Well, we check out the hospital. Instead of the guide, it's a doctor. So we completely psychoanalyze each of those things and so put our brand behind it so the patient knows, oh, peace of mind.
Yeah.
I can now go and I'm taken care of. I don't have to worry about my family. I don't have to worry about anything.
And you've launched already in Nairobi?
We launched a few months ago, and we're moving 5 to 10 people every month now. And what's the most important thing you just said earlier? Word of mouth. Every one of them coming back saying, thank God for A&K Global Health. You can see the letters. They just say, they saved us, they did everything, they took all the fear out of it, going to an unknown place, no fear, no worry, instant help, instant recoveries. And if those word of mouth had been bad, I'd have said, you know what, that wasn't one of my better ideas. But the word of mouth is huge.
And you said, Jeff, this is going to be bigger than A&K travel?
Absolutely. 6 million people already travel for health overseas. 6 million. And nobody's thought of it this way. They have to go to a specific hospital. I want to give them the choice of doctors and choice of hospitals and choice of price and a seamless operation. And nobody's ever done that before.
And insurances will take care of these?
Absolutely, yeah. And we can only do it because we have all these, I told you, all the 60 network everywhere. So the Indian office is handling them coming in. Yeah. We're going to go to Thailand. Our Thailand office handles them coming in. You know, and so it's easy for us. Nobody else could do it. We're the only one with the logistic model to do it.
Jeffrey, when you first bought that land...
Quite excited. I actually want to go and get sick and try this myself.
You've never been sick?
No, never.
Touch wood.
No. Yeah. Just polo accident.
When you first bought that Land Rover, KBH you mentioned.
KBH 482. Remember it like yesterday.
Did you ever think that, 62, 50 years later, this is half a century later, you'd be what you are, you'd achieve what you have?
But you know, not really. I just knew I was going to be really, really good, and I'm going to be so ambitious and work all hours known to mankind. And yes, I was highly ambitious. I didn't know we'd reach this. I mean, yesterday we were given the world's best tour operator, world's best tour operator in the world, voted by everybody. Yeah. I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, Tourism Hall of Fame, like last week.
So it's
all come together.
Like the Hiltons and the Marriotts and...
Yeah, with all of them, yes. So in 50 years, I've sort of reached, you know.
What keeps you going, Jeff? What keeps you going? You're 70 years old.
Oh, I'll never stop. I remember I have a lot of Kenya sayings. I'm sure you do too. You know, like you know, never be the tallest tree in the jungle. That's one. Or I try and keep. But the best one I love of all is the guy on a bicycle, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, the stupid guy on a bicycle comes to this long hill going down, and there's a hill going up. The stupid guy comes and he sees this long hill, and says, "Oh, thank goodness!" And he sits back and he enjoys the air, and he just sits there enjoying. He gets to the bottom of the hill, can only go about 10 feet up because it's too much for him, and he stops. All right. Yeah. Now the smart guy who's going down there says, "Aha! I have a big hill ahead of me," and so he starts to pedal like crazy. And when he gets to the bottom, he got so much power, he goes straight to the top. So I'm the guy still coming down the hill, the smart one, not the stupid one. And I think that wherever you are in life, you must wake up every morning saying, "This isn't going to last forever. What's the new one?" So I'm entering China. I have new markets for Kenya. Where did I bring the first Chinese? We have two Gulfstream jets, 14 of them. Where did I bring them? This hotel, right here. And the Masai Mara and Abercrombie Kent camp.
Did they enjoy it?
They loved it. And now I'm opening in China, Beijing. We have our office there already. We're going to bring a lot of Chinese here. Wow. Middle East, I'm opening big offices in Abu Dhabi.
Nice.
Being a very big strategic venture with a major Abu Dhabi company. Mm-hmm. We're bringing in a new division called concierge work for the Russians because they want to go to Europe. Nice. I have a huge villa company. We have 300 villas all over Europe. You know, the luxury villas, ski villas. Yeah. So any guy wants to go, Kenya wants to go skiing, we have great ski villas. European. So we're pushing on and each time I always find a key guy who I really trust. And I try and put into their heads, this is the story, guys. This is what you have to do. I'm here, now go for it.
Yeah, run with the ball.
And they all have a piece, they all get bonuses and piece of the action. Wow. And they pick it up and they ride the bicycle. And I just tell them, faster, faster.
And what about those Kenyans who are always so negative about their own country, always saying, oh, we're not going in, we're one step forward, 2 steps backwards. What do you tell them, Jeff?
Tell them, go get a life. You know, I mean, people in Kenya do not know how lucky they are. And if they don't like it here, be my guest, right? Go and live in London with the filthy weather. Yeah. Go and live in New York, all right? This is the best country in the world by miles. Because you have everything here. You have gorgeous weather. You have very smart people. People love to work here. They're very enthusiastic to work, and they're nice people. And you have so much opportunity. I went to a restaurant last night, and the young guy was running it, and I was very impressed. He was working everything. So I saw him at the end and said, "Good job. You'll have 1,000 of these one day. Just work hard, spread it out, go for the world." I think what happens in Kenya is that people get into Kenya so much that they don't believe in their heads or whatever they can conquer the world. You must believe, and I always did actually. You're right. You asked me earlier on. I always knew I'd conquer the world. I'd go on. I knew somehow that I was going to do it. Not exactly what we did, but we got there, both in polo and in travel.
Yeah. And the other thing about this place, Jeff, is that we're almost there. You know, we're almost there. But we need to give it that extra push. In fact, that's what Richard Leakey said on this very bench not too long ago. He says we're on the 100 meter, the 100 meters from the finish line.
Yes.
We just need that extra effort to take off.
And we have the energy, and I think, do you know what it is? It's belief. You said it. You mustn't go around saying this. No, belief. We'll get that right. Traffic. Let's get this right. Let's put ring roads around Nairobi. I'm sure you're doing it, but let's do it. Yeah. Let's get that right. Let's sort you. Whenever you have a problem, there will be problems all day long. You have to work out the best way around it and sort it out and move forward. Yeah. And that's what you've got to do.
Absolutely. You ever go back to Nyahururu, Thompson Falls? You ever go back, Jeff?
No, I want to. Oh. I want to go back to South Koinange, to our place there, and look at that, and also go to Thompson's Falls. And I did go to Kenton the other day for some reason.
Did you?
Yeah, and I went to I went to Lenana too. Sorry, I called it wrong. Lenana. I went there. I saw my old house.
Did you?
Yeah, I drove around the ring road. Oh. There's the old house.
Must have been good. Good feeling.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I thought, it's a long time. You look back in memories, you look at those schools and what you were doing, roller skating, and then at Lenana you were riding bicycles around the track every evening, so good fun.
Wow.
But I think the best thing that Kenya does for you, it fills you full of resource. You become very resourceful. And I think that's where we beat everybody in the world. Look what Richard's done, Look at Alan Root, my other friend, very resourceful. You don't tell a guy, your car's broken down, call the AA. No, you get out and fix it.
Yourself.
And get moving. Yeah. And that's, Kenyans are like that. We always have this great, feeling of we can do this.
Yes. And roll up our sleeves.
Do it, and do it yourself. Don't allow other people to do it. Get on. Thank
Geoffrey
you,
Kent.
Really enjoyed it.
Good to see you, man. Well done. Fantastic.
Asante.
Great stories. Keep them coming.
I will.
And good luck with the global health.
Thanks so much.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Don't go away. Geoffrey Kent, folks. What a guy. What energy. 70 years old. He wakes up every morning thinking this is his first day at work. Imagine that, people. If we could all have a little bit of his energy, this country would have taken off a long time ago. But there is still hope. Just believe in yourself. Like Geoffrey Kent says, believe in yourself. You can achieve. As long as you think Kenya first, everything else second. What a guest, what a show, what a week it's going to be, folks. The Bench all this week. Success stories about us, by us, for us. You cannot find guests like Geoff Kent anywhere else but right here on The Bench, on the award-winning station, K24. Where we are, yes indeed, even in times of, you guessed it, Abercrombie and Kent. We are still all Kenyan.
All the time.
Well done, my friend. Good job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Capital Talk is filmed at Fairmont, the Norfolk.